podcast with your host, Matt. I finally got the other host, Keegan. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
How you doing? I'm Keegan. I'm a lifelong Devils fan. Went to my first game back in 2007 as a 3-year-old jit against the Buffalo Sabres. We lost 3-1.
What a no.
Yeah, it sucked.
Anyway.
Been asked since 2007. Ever since I was
yesterday, I did my episode. Go check it out. I did about the NBA draft, the 2021 championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Houston Rockets' future. But since that was my episode, I'm going to let you take the episode about what's going on in the NHL, because I know you're an NHL guy.
Yeah. So
but
it's gonna be,
show's yours.
So it's going to be about the NHL offseason, the draft, free agency period. Mostly Devils-related news, because as you can see, big Devils guy. So it's going to be mostly about the Devils picks. All right, Rockets boy.
Hey. At least I'm not a Lions fan like some people.
So yeah, no, we're going to be talking. I'm going to mention mostly Devils picks, Devils acquisitions, signings, all the good stuff. We're going to cover a few other teams' picks that I feel are of notoriety. Some other trades that were made. There's a lot of trades made before free agency, and then some just the big name free agent acquisitions, which is quite a few. First overall pick, Owen Power, which went to Buffalo. Pretty much consensus number one pick for the entire season. Nothing really special there. The kid's a mammoth, 6'6", 232 pounds, I believe. Going back to Michigan for another year, it's what's his projected, even though he's a first overall pick. And yeah, that's pretty much it. He's a beast offensively, beast defensively. Gonna be a top 2 guy for any team. That
he's not Connor McDavid though.
He's a defenseman, so he can't be a Connor McDavid. That's the thing. Connor McDavid's a center.
Nah.
Clearly,
Connor McDavid is the greatest right now.
And then we got Owen Power's teammate and newly Seattle Kraken fan. Seattle Kraken drafted Matt Beniers. Funny enough, his name
I'm only a Kraken fan because every other team I support is from Seattle.
But, so Matt Beniers, although this year's draft is kind of a crapshoot. There was no ever set first overall pick till weeks before the draft. I know I just said there was a consensus number 1 pick, but he was consensus number 1 pick weeks before the draft. Until then, no one knew. There was like at least 4 to 5 guys minimum who could have went first. But Matt Beniers, he's guaranteed to become an NHL caliber player, no doubt about that. Matt Beniers, perfect two-way guy. He's accountable in his own end. He's accountable in his own end. He can play defense like a champ. He can put his name on the score sheet a few times this season, you know. And he's just a well-rounded player. He's going to be a good second-line guy. At best, a low-end first-line center. At best, a high-end third-line center. Anywhere from first line to third line, he can play. He will be a versatile penalty killer, power play guy, scorer, defensive guy. He's going to be a great guy. He's going to be great, but not good enough to be considered an elite player in the NHL, you know. The next pick is a little bit off the board. Mason McTavish. He was slated to go. He went 3rd overall, but he was slated to go about 10th or 11th overall, I would say. That's where I had him in my mock draft. There's no doubt he's going to be, again, another guy who's good but not great. I would not have taken him with a 3rd overall pick. He played due to the COVID on the Canadian Hockey League, which is obviously in Canada. They have 3 leagues: the Western Hockey League, which is in Western Canada, the Ontario Hockey League, and the QMJHL, which is the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. They're both on the East Coast. The QMJHL and the WHL all started up late. The OHL never started up. So a lot of the kids in the OHL either didn't get to play at all this year, or had to go to Europe or something, or the U.S. leagues, or hell, even go to college to try to get into college. And that's what McTavish did. McTavish went to Switzerland, played in the Swiss A League.
Oh, is that guy you were telling me about?
Who?
The Swiss guy?
No.
Is that
he's
Swiss guy?
No, he's a Canadian guy. But he went to Switzerland to play due to COVID.
Oh, okay.
11 points in 13 games in a men's league, which is pretty good. But Switzerland is not yet at least high end as you would see for Sweden, Finland, Russia even. The competition won't be as high. So it is a good pick, but relatively risky. I'd say medium risk, medium reward. It's not the greatest. Next pick, the Devils pick. I am very pleased to announce this one.
Is it a bust?
No, he's a stud. Luke Hughes. Devils took his brother Jack Hughes, 1st overall in 2019. 1st overall. And now they got the brother. They have two of the three brothers in
that
total.
same energy I have for Jalen Green when the Rockets drafted him.
You're hyped, I heard.
Oh, man.
I heard you were hyped.
I can't wait for that duo with Kevin Porter, but go on.
Yeah, so Luke Hughes, another Michigan guy. Three out of the top 4 guys, all from the University of Michigan, the Wolverines, the guys who get bitched by Ohio State in football every year. But so yeah, Luke Hughes committed to Michigan next year. He played for the USDP, United States Development Program. Had a great year until a foot injury. He got a lacerated tendon, I think, which took him out. But he's been skating for about 2 months now, and he's looking just as good as he was before he got injured. Really, really good offensive defenseman and a solid defensive guy. He's not, again, a guy you can rely on both ends of the ice. Definitely not a bad player by any means. Will be an NHL guy. The running theme in this draft is no high-end talent, but a lot of NHL caliber players. Luke Hughes will be that guy. Luke Hughes will be a top 2 defender in the NHL. I can guarantee that. Why? Honestly, although I'm a Devils fan, I didn't think the Devils were going to get him. I thought he was going to go to Seattle, actually. I thought I think he should have went 2. Luke Hughes will be a good NHL player. His brother, Jack Hughes, is becoming a great one. He is thrown into a really bad Devils team in 2019-20 season, so he didn't have a good rookie year. Then COVID struck, which shut down NBA, NHL leagues. And so yeah, but this year, the COVID year, had a great year. If there wasn't for a lack of scoring on the Devils team, he would have been a point per game guy. He wasn't because no one knows how to score on the Devils team other than Hughes and, say, Igor Sharangovich. But so you know, Hughes is gonna be both Hughes, in fact, are gonna be a good guy, great elite NHL players. And then the brother, the third one, Quinn Hughes on Vancouver. Devils are gonna trade for him. I don't care if they're. I'm forcing Tom Fitzgerald, the GM of the Devils, to acquire.
You're gonna take over the Devils.
I'm gonna temporarily take over the Devils. But yeah. So moving on, pick number 5, another University of Michigan product, Kent Johnson. High risk, high reward. That's all I gotta say about him. He's either gonna be boom or bust. Nothing else there. He's not reliable defensively, but if he can reach his offensive talent, it's gonna make up for the defensive liability. The guy is he's put up. You think he put up 30 points in 25 games as a true freshman to Michigan, which you don't see. Same, but the reason if his pure offensive capabilities could have made him a number. We'll make him a great player, but not elite. So that's all I really gotta say about Johnson. He's the boomer bust. There's nothing else to say there. Next pick, an even bigger boomer bust. Sky.
So that's the running theme in the draft.
Yeah, good.
A lot like
either boomer busts or good but not great players.
Yeah.
Next pick, the biggest boomer bust in this draft, Simon Edvinsson from Sweden. 6'4", 196 pounds. But the problem with that is that he's extremely inconsistent. He has flashes of brilliance. Looks like the next Nick Lidstrom, who was probably one of the best, if not the best defenseman of all time. He looks like him when he was his age. But the problem is, he has terrible decision-making sometimes. He rushes the play, tries to overdo things, which causes turnovers, and then those turnovers lead onto odd-man rushes, and those rushes lead to goals against them. So if he can work on his playmaking abilities and his decision making, easily can be the best player out of this draft. Easily, no doubt. He has lots of raw potential, lots of untapped potential. He's going to be playing in the Swedish Hockey League next year for Frölunda, I believe.
What team did he go to? The Red Wings?
Yeah, Detroit. But he's going to be playing in the Swedish Hockey League against men. So, the SHL is one of the top leagues in the entire world. I'd say third best behind the NHL and the KHL, which is Russia. But so yeah, Edvinsson, big boomer bust guy. San Jose Sharks picked William Eklund at 7, which is a steal. It's one of the best picks of the draft, I'd say. Even though it's kind of a no-brainer, I'd still say it's one of the best picks of the draft because he's supposed to go at 2. Simple as that. Eklund is the second best player in this draft, I'd say. But he played against men. He actually played with Devils prospect Alex Holtz as a line mate, and they both put up the same amount of points, 23 points in 48 games. Holtz was the goal scorer of the group. Eklund's the playmaker of the group. So Eklund is going to be another guy, bona fide NHL player, but he's going to be good, not great. He's definitely more of a natural playmaker. Did only put up 5 goals, but he put up 18 points. 18 assists. I'm sorry, put up 18 assists in the 48 games, while feeding it to Devils prospect Alex Holtz, who's a pure goal scorer. The guy's going to be good. Holtz is going to be a good player. If Holtz, he was drafted in 2020. If Holtz was in this draft, he probably would have been first. He went 7th in 2020. 2020 draft was stacked. Just talent. So that's the theme of that draft. Guys
Just
who are
pure talent?
Elite players.
Okay. So what year was the best NHL draft?
2003.
Oh, it's like the NBA.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Is that the closest to 2003?
No, I'd say at the rate it's going 2015 would be the best. That's Connor McDavid's draft.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a lot of good players out of that one. Too many to count. I can't name them all off. But next pick, Brent Clark, another guy from the Ontario Hockey League who had to go to Europe. He went to the Czech 2 League, which is pretty much the kind of like the G League. It's called
for the NBA.
What's like the minor league for the NBA?
Basically the G League.
Yeah, the G League. He went to the G League of the Czech main league, and he was pretty bad at first, to be honest with you. Then once he adapted to the European style of play, he really solidified himself as a top 10 pick at least.
Is it also for the NHL, like for European leagues? Like, if people go to the European leagues, they're basically pro ready because of that same level of competitiveness?
Well, that never happens. Usually the kids who are from the U.S. and Canada, they stay in the U.S. and Canadian
All right,
leagues.
so let's say there's a prospect. Let's say there was a prospect from Europe, and he played in the European leagues his whole life, and then he declared for the NHL. Do you think there would always be a good chance that he would do good in the NHL because of that European experience?
No.
So it's not the same level of competitiveness.
I
only ask that because
they are professional men's leagues, but here's the thing. It's about adapting to the North American style play via the European style play. For starters, the European rinks are massive compared to the NHL ones. I think.
Like what? Like teams?
No, rinks. The size rinks. Skating's a lot harder.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like a lot bigger?
Not a lot bigger, but they're noticeably bigger.
Okay.
So it's just transition is a problem. Again, they're good players, but not good enough to be in the NHL. So they lost their talent. Yes. That talent level, like you might have a phenomenal kid from, let's just say, Sweden, dominating the SHL, comes over to the NHL, the talent is not there, just doesn't transition.
Yeah.
I
only asked that because you know Luka Doncic, right?
No.
Literally been playing in Europe his whole life. He won the youngest MVP in the European League, and then people were speculating that wasn't going to translate to the NBA, and then look where he's doing now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at least for basketball, it's not the same level of competitiveness because obviously the NBA, if you're in the NBA, you're in the NBA for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, like you're there because you're the best and you're one of the best and you're in that league for a reason. But you can also compare the NBA to Europe just because of that same level of competitiveness. But that's the only reason why I brought it up.
You know. So yeah, he played in the Czech 2 League, which is like the minor league of the Czech main.
For Europe?
Yeah, no, well not just for Europe, for that country's league. They have the Swedish Hockey League, the Liga, which is Finland's. You have like Norway, Denmark, Russia.
So
Czech,
all of them have each of them have their own minor league.
Each country has their own major league and their minor leagues.
Okay, I got you.
He played for the Czech. He went to Czech with his brother, who was actually a Devils prospect, Graham Clark. Graham Clark's a Devils prospect, 3rd-round pick in 2019. Next is Dillon Genther for the Arizona Coyotes. I don't have a good read on Genther, to be honest with you. I don't have a good read on him.
You don't have that much confidence in him?
No, not confidence.
Like you haven't seen enough from him?
That, and I don't know, from what I have seen, I don't know if his styles of play is going to transition well. Again, that transition thing. He plays in the Western Hockey League in Canada. So but his thing is doing it on his own, taking it and being fancy and scoring. But because again, he's playing in the WHL. The kids, they're all ages from 16 to 21. They're all kids, not grown men. In the NHL, that stuff won't fly. Just taking it in yourself and just trying to look beautiful and fancy and scoring.
Well, obviously, it's the pros.
That's the thing. That's his game. That's what he does.
Every
single goal
I'm pretty sure in any history of any sport, not one player has carried their team to a final. Or not to a finals, but have won. Oh, Gretzky?
1 year, and then he got a bunch of good
So
players.
just by himself?
Yeah, pretty much before they got a bunch of good players.
Okay, because the only two people that I can think of off the top of my head right now is AI in 2001, where they got one game out of Kobe and Shaq duo in the finals. Literally, he had no help on that 76ers team, and then LeBron in 2018.
So I'm not. The talent is there, like I said, and he's gonna be at worst a third line scorer, a depth scorer. At best, a first line scorer. But at best, it's gonna be hard for him to reach that because the transition is gonna be hard for him because you can't. Unless you're just like Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid can do that. He's insane.
Yeah.
But he's not Connor. Dillon Genther is not Connor McDavid. So that transition is going to be a little bit difficult for him. Next pick, very weird pick to say the least. Tyler Boucher to Ottawa. The guy was not a first round pick. He wasn't a first round pick. He's a second round pick at best. Early second to late second. They picked him 10. They picked him 10. He's not even the thing is he's not even a scorer. He's a grinder kind of guy. He's gonna get in the dirty areas. He's gonna be physical.
So he's more of like a scrapper.
Not even. Grinders don't scrap. They're just willing to get physical. They'll hit you throw.
Like they'll do anything to get the puck.
Get in the dirty areas.
Okay,
play
so
behind the net, behind the board, in the crease, screening the goalie.
So they'll do anything to get the puck back. Okay.
Or willing to be, or not dirty, but like get into the dirty areas, like get in the corners. You know what I'm talking about?
They're willing.
They're willing to go up on the boards, fight you for the puck, kind of poke check and all that.
I got you.
He's not going to be a scorer unless by some miracle, he just turns on his offensive game. I just don't see him being a scorer. Next pick is Cole Sillinger to the Columbus. He's a good player. He's really talented. Second line guy at best, I'd say. He's a good scorer, reliable in his own end. I believe he played for the USHL. Yeah, he played for the Sioux Falls Stampede of the USHL and put up very good numbers to say the least for that team. But again, he was a proven goal. He played because originally he went to the USHL because of the WHL not starting up right away, and he didn't feel like waiting. He wanted to play, so he went to a league that already started up. Because the WHL and the QMJHL all started up later, and the OHL never started up, as I said. So he went over to the US to play, and he put up very good numbers in both leagues, so the WHL and the USHL. So he's going to be a good player, just again not really top line talent, I'd say. Next is Matt Coronado to Calgary. He put up a career, not record-breaking numbers, but really good numbers. He put up 98 points in 54 games, but I take that with a grain of salt because the year prior he put up like 30 points in that same amount of games. But this year he's also playing with a guy named Sean Farrell, who's a prospect for the Montreal Canadiens, who put up 105 points in 52 games, which is 2 points a game pretty much on average. Good? That's insane. Even for the U.S. League, that's insane. 2 points a game? Averaging, yeah. Because he put.
He's averaging.
Yeah, 52. He played 52 games and put up 105 points. 52 plus 52 is 104. That's insane.
Yeah.
I think he's like 22. Not Farrell, so he is a bit older. But the thing is, the Coronado kid played on the same line as Sean Farrell from Montreal. So there is a little bit of a risk with that pick because who knows? Maybe he got carried by Farrell, but a talent's there. Even if it turns out he was carried by him, kinda, he's still gonna be a reliable third line guy, depth scorer again, another depth scorer kind of guy. Next is Buffalo, Isaac Rosen from Sweden, off the board. I had him as a late first rounder. Like 29, actually to the Devils pick. Devils' second pick was 29.
So you wanted him to go to?
Well, no, I didn't want him. That's where I thought he was going to go. That's where I thought he was going to go, just based off of everyone else's rankings.
Like the mock draft?
Yeah, all the mocks I saw. I kind of just went off.
So he went earlier.
He went way earlier than I thought he was, to 14, like I said. He played in the Swedish. He bounced around from like the Swedish Junior League to the Swedish Minor League and then the Swedish Main League. He put up, I believe he put up like a point in like 10 games there, which is fine because 18-year-old playing against men, difficult. The Junior League he did really well in, like I think over 2 points a game. And then the minor league, he did pretty well. Like, I don't know the points for the minor league because I don't think they keep track of them for some reason. Elite prospects.
Really?
I don't know why. I couldn't find anything. But obviously, he did well enough to be a considered consensus first round pick. Again, another guy, top 6 forward at best, at worst, bottom 6 guy. Nothing really special about him. No blistering speed, no wicked shot, no great skating or playmaking ability. He's just good at everything. Bit of a defensive liability at times, but not severe enough to the point where he's unsalvageable and not a first round pick. But next pick, little bit of weird pick, to say the least. Sebastian Coe at 15 to Detroit Red Wings. And it's weird not because the guy's an immensely talented guy. His record in the WHL for the Edmonton Oil Kings was 17-1-1 with a .940 save percentage and a 1.89 goals against average. That's insane, letting in less than 2 goals a game over their full season too. That's insane. But there was a better goalie available who should have went top 10 but didn't, and we'll get to him later on. But Sebastian Coe could honestly be the better goalie of the draft if developed properly by Detroit. Detroit got themselves a bit of a project, but if it works out, it will work out. It will work. The guy is a beast. He played his rookie year in the WHL last year, put up pretty damn good numbers for a rookie. Comes in as a starter for the Edmonton Oil Kings, dominates, best by a long shot. Best
as
goalie.
a rookie?
No, the second year. He was a 16 when he came in. But the guy will be again another guy. If he doesn't reach his potential, backup at worst, elite starter at best. Top tier goalie in the NHL. Next, the Rangers. I'm so happy.
Your favorite team?
No, I hate them. I'm very happy they messed up this pick actually. Brendan
really?
Hoffman. I had him going. You picked him at 16. I had him going like 23. A little bit of a late. So it's a little bit of a reach.
Yeah.
Again, another kid who went over to Europe. I believe he went. What league did he go to? I don't remember. I think it was another Czech guy or Slovakia or something like that. One of the leagues. I know like I said, I didn't. Hoffman's a guy I didn't really keep up much on because I'm not high on him. Like I don't think he's exactly an elite player. At best I think he's the top 9 guy. At worst, not NHL caliber. Medium, I'd say he's medium risk, medium reward. To be honest, I'm not.
So overall, you're happy that the Rangers took him?
Yes, very. Like he can be good. There's a chance that he can become a top 6 guy, but I don't see it happening personally. I don't have much to say about him. Next pick, 17 to St. Louis, Zach Balduc from the QMJHL. Fun fact. Rangers had the first pick last year. They picked Alexis Lafreniere from the same team as Balduc. And Balduc,
that sounds French.
He is French Canada. That's why he's Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
No, but, just off of that last name alone.
Oh, yeah. But Balduc was Lafreniere's line mate, and he put up a great year. However, Alexis Lafreniere is a generational talent, and as soon as he left the Rimouski Oceanic, which is the team they played on, Balduc's numbers dropped. Now, I'm not saying he's a full product of Alexis Lafreniere, but it's obvious that his numbers were inflated. I had him as a late first rounder. I see him as a top 6 guy at best, third, fourth line guy at worst. So he's again another NHL guy, but his numbers were definitely boosted up by playing with a guy of Alexis Lafreniere's caliber. Like the kid he got granted exceptional status into the QMJHL to play as a 15-year-old rather than the 16-year-old you have to be at least. So, and he put up dominant numbers every single year he played in. Just insane. On par with Sidney Crosby, who until Connor McDavid came into the league was labeled as the best player in the entire NHL. So the kid's got talent. Had a bad rookie year, but in fairness, although I hate the Rangers, I'll give them this one thing: their coach sucked with managing their young guys. He gave them no ice time, pretty much. Buried them out on the bottom 6.
Even then, he's still a rookie. He's still getting used to the league.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
So you can't take everything away from him.
Well, I'm not. The potential's there, but he didn't score his first goal till like 16 games in the season, I think. So there was the risk, and he looked. Even
He didn't look that good for 16 games.
Yeah, even his last games, he looked good, but not definitely like. If like you didn't know he was the first overall pick, you would not have said, "Hey, this guy was the first." Like, oh, this guy plays like a first overall pick. You wouldn't have saw that out of him. He played good in his last like couple games, like 10, 15 games. Like, but again, it wasn't a good scorer. Was just okay at best defensively, and he wasn't the best this year. He's gonna be good. Lafreniere is gonna be a great elite player, franchise-altering player even when he hits his prime. Like, I have no doubt he's gonna succeed in the NHL, but. This year was lackluster for him. The next pick was to Winnipeg. Chaz Lucious, what a name. Chaz Lucious. I like that name. His brother Cruz Lucious is a 2022 pick this year, next year. But pure goal scorer. That's it. The scores. Pretty good defense. He'll pass the puck, but he's a 100% shoot first guy. Reliable in his own end.
So would you say he's selfish?
No, not like in a selfish way.
That's just his style of play.
That's his style. He has one of the. I'd say he has the best shot on the draft. To be honest with you, but the reason why I didn't go higher, he was supposed. I had him at 13, and he's at 18. So there's a lot of risers and fallers in this draft. But yeah, that's about it. Lucious, just a scorer, top 6 guy at best, top 9 guy at worst. Again, you're seeing a running theme, obviously.
Yeah. That seems to be the main theme.
Next is a guy I actually got right. Right team, right pick.
Oh, really?
Fyodor Svetkov at 19 to Nashville. Right, great Russian guy.
Predators?
Huh?
The Predators?
The Predators, the EDPs. As I like
the EDPs.
But so Fyodor Svetkov, very Russian. You can tell it's Russian. But not a scorer, but a beast defensively. His positioning is great. His IQ in his own end is great. He can get the puck out of his own end easily. Get the offense starting to kick in. Again, I'd see him as a top 6 guy but a defensive top 6 guy. So you'd have him. He's a natural center right now. I still see him as a center when he gets into the NHL, but maybe have him as a winger because centers usually you want them to be both reliable offensively and defensively. Svechkov is not, at least right now. Maybe his offensive game will blossom over the offseason like Anton Lundell did last year. Anton Lundell was picked 10. He went higher than in the 2020 draft because his offensive game was just okay, but his defensive game was a beast. Then this year, his first game in the Finnish Liga, the top-tier Finnish league, scored 4 goals in his first game as a 19-year-old playing against men. And he was a beast offensively this year. So you never know. He could have that happen to him, So yes, Fyodor Svetkov, look out for him. He could be good. Next pick, this is the weird pick I was telling you about with Sebastian Coe, the goalie from Detroit, who Detroit picked. This goalie I had as the 8th overall pick going to Los Angeles. I mean, I'm sorry, not 8th, 7th to San Jose because San Jose has no good goalies. They're in trouble. But Jesper Wallstedt from Sweden, the last 2-3 years I'd say. There's been elite goalie level prospects. 2017, they had Jake Ottinger go first round. He's looking great right now. 2018 had no one. 2019 had Spencer Knight. 2020 had Yaroslav Askarov. And all these guys are named. Great elite prospects who could be faces, for a goalie-wise at least, faces of the NHL. When you think of a goalie in like 5-10 years, if they reach their potential,
you think
those
of them?
Guys. Yeah, it's along with the other goalies like Devils goalie Mackenzie Blackwood, Flyers goalie Carter Hart, Rangers goalie, what's his name? It's Islanders. Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers and the Islanders, Ilya Sorokin. Along with the guys I just previously named, who's drafted more recently, they're going to be faces of the NHL. When you think of a elite goalies, those are the guys you'll be thinking of. But Jesper Wallstedt, as an 18-year-old, put up a 909 save percentage, which is elite already for an 18-year-old playing against men. And I put up a 925 save percentage. So he saved pretty much 92.5% of the shots he faces. That's
pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good for an 18-year-old. He's probably the best goalie prospect since Carey Price in 2005, I believe he was drafted. And Carey Price was pretty much the best goalie in the NHL till a couple of years ago. He started falling off because he's older now. He's like in his mid-30s, early to mid-30s, I believe. So yeah. And Wallstedt could be the next best goalie. There's nothing wrong with that pick. That's a great pick. Next pick, Fabian Lysell, who I think can be one of the steals of the draft because he should have went higher. I had him at 11. great all-around guy. Again, really good scorer, really good defender. Should have went higher. Nothing all said. Just should have went higher. I don't know why he fell. And the crazy part is, a lot of teams were high on him. Like a lot of guys previously mentioned.
He had a high expectation.
They all were high on him. They liked him. They thought he was a good prospect. They just skipped over him. I don't know why. Next pick, Edmonton. They had their hands on the two goalies I mentioned, Kosa and Wallstedt. They had both of those picks originally.
Would you say that there's a lot of like sleeper picks in this one?
Yes, because scouting was really weird due to COVID, obviously.
Yeah. So like those sleeper picks, do you think, as you mentioned, like those people that fell down in the draft, would you consider those sleeper picks?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get to a major one.
Okay.
In the second round, I'm gonna cover every first round pick, but just gonna only go over the late round picks I feel necessary.
I got you.
But Edmonton, they had the 15th pick, with Detroit used to get Kosa, the elite goalie, and then they had pick number 20 to get Jesper Wallstedt, the even better goalie than Kosa. And they traded both of them away, even though they desperately need goalies. Their goalies, Mike Smith, he's 39, he's washed. He's pretty much going to be. I'm anticipating serious regression for him because he's 39, like almost turning 40. That's not good for a goalie.
40 for a goalie?
He's really old. He's been in the league for a good while.
Damn.
And then Mikko Koskinen, I believe, or Koskinen, my bad. He's just too inconsistent to be a consistent starter, and his contract sucks too. So yeah, they really screwed the pooch, and their offseason has been brutal for them. Other trades-wise, signings. I'll get to that after the draft, but they picked Xavier Bourgault. Not really a bad pick. I had him going at 23 actually, so it's not. He picked 22, so not bad a pick. That's a solid pick. The problem is they don't need centers; they need wingers to help Connor McDavid out because their wingers suck, and they're forcing they have elite center depth, but the wingers are nothing. Third line guys at best and they're getting boosted because of McDavid. McDavid.
He's just that good.
He just brings everyone up, no matter who.
He's just that good.
Yeah. Next pick, Dallas, off the board, to say the least. Wyatt Johnston from Windsor Spitfires. Didn't play at all this year. He decided not to go to Europe. He played in the OHL, but decided not because they didn't play. He didn't want to go to Europe, so he just didn't play. If he was good last year as a rookie in the OHL for the Windsor Spitfires, but I wouldn't say first round pick worthy. If they started up this year, I would have said maybe. If he improved, I would have said maybe he's a first round pick, but. If you just go off of what he did last year, no, a second round pick, mid second round pick, I'd say. Plus, like I said, I don't have much on him because he didn't play at all this year. Next one is a pretty intriguing one. Matthew Samaskevich to Florida.
That's a crazy last name.
Yeah, a couple Matts in this draft. Now I think about it, but medium risk, medium reward. I'd say Samaskevich. He had a great year for the U.S. League. I believe he's going to Michigan next year. Not mistaken. One of the Michigans. But pretty good player. I actually had him going higher. I had him going 18 to Winnipeg. But Samaskevich is another guy who just a good offensive threat and just defensively. Offense got him in the first round. But if he reaches his offensive potential, he'll be elite. No, not elite, but serviceable.
Good,
obviously.
Yeah.
He'll be a good player. Next pick is Corson Coolman's Columbus. I don't have a good read on Coolman's either. He plays in one of the lesser. He plays in one of the lesser Canadian leagues, the AJHL, the Alberta Junior Hockey League, which is a tier below the Canadian Hockey League, which houses the WHL, OHL, and QMJHL. So he was good in those leagues. I believe he's going to college. I don't know which college, but I know he's going to a college to play. But another guy who, if he reaches his potential, will be a solid top 4 guy, I'd say, in the NHL. You could rely on him to be a good power play quarterback even. Next pick, huge fall, 26 to Minnesota. Carson Lambos. I had him going at 12. Guy's a defensive beast. He can put up points too. He's a okay offensive guy. He played I believe he went to Sweden to play, and when the WHL started back up, he went back over. Did great in both leagues, defensively. Okay in both leagues offensively.
And what number was it?
26 he won.
So he did good both leagues, and he fell all the way down to 26.
I had him going at 12.
Wow, so that's a big drop.
Oh, you think that's a big drop?
From 12 to 26.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And you think that's bad? Wait till the second round pick I'm about to tell you about.
Okay.
Once I get done with this, that's the first guy I'm going to. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be crazy. You're gonna laugh when you hear this. Yeah, Carson Lambeau's defensive beast. Okay, offensive guy. You won't rely on him to be a power play quarterback, but he's a great penalty killer, great defensive guy. Oscar Olausson is the next pick to Colorado at 28. He played in the Swedish league his entire season, the top league with like William Eklund did. Did not on the same team, but he did pretty well. He's a goal scorer before anything else. He's a good goal scorer, consistent at that, and a pretty good defensive guy. And he's an okay playmaker. Like he has improvements to make in the playmaking category, but his shots NHL caliber. He reads the defensive game, the defensive end very well. Knows what to do. Is serviceable. I'd say he's another top 6 guy. Oh, not top 9 guy at best, I'd say. Next up is the second first round pick the Devils had, Chase Stillman. Another guy who had the OHL shutdown, just didn't bother to play. But the good news is he was better than Wyatt Johnson, I would say. That from Dallas, who I told you about earlier, how he just...
Earlier in the draft?
Yeah. He's better than the Wyatt Johnson kid. And the Devils used to have a player, his name was Blake Coolman. 3rd round pick in 2011, I believe. Guy's one of the best versatile players in the league, if not the best. He can play first line, he can play second line, he can play third line, he can play fourth line. He can play anything you want. Anything you want him.
He's more all around?
He's the best all around guy in the NHL, I would say. Devils traded him to Tampa for a first round pick last year, and Nolan Foote, who's looking like a great prospect right now. He won 2 chips with Tampa, the back-to-back chips. Then
this year and last year?
Yeah. Then he signed with Calgary for 6 years, $4.9 million per. So a bit of a hefty contract. I wanted the Devils to bring him back until I saw that number. But the great thing about Stillman is that he could be Blake Coleman 2.0 if he reaches his potential. Maybe not to the point of playing first and second line minutes, but third line. Oh, maybe. Actually, no. Just scratch that.
Third or fourth?
No, he can play first. Maybe not first line minutes, but second line, third line, fourth line. He plays the physical, gritty game that Coleman does. He knows how to score goals just like Coleman does. He's not really a pass first kind of guy like Coleman is. That can be at times, but that's something anyone can work on off the playmaking abilities. And like I said, just a good defensive guy. You can rely on him defensively. So. The problem is he's a lot bigger risk because of that year. Next pick is Zach Dean to Vegas.
What number are you at?
30.
Do you want to finish after this? At number 30, and then we'll finish on another topic. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, there's some more picks I gotta go through.
Okay. Go.
Zach Dean to Vegas. Not high on him. I don't think he's gonna be very good. He was okay in the QMJHL. That's about it. I see him as a third line guy at best, fourth line at worst. Next pick, Montreal fucked up, real bad. They took pretty much a sex offender with the 30th first pick.
Oh, this is the guy that you were telling me about.
Logan Mailloux.
That's the guy you were telling me about.
Yeah.
He literally said, "Don't draft me."
He said,
He told them not to draft him.
Every team not to draft him, and he picks him with the first round pick. He's not first round caliber too. That's the sad thing. I don't want to talk about it, so we're gonna put a thing up on the screen for you guys when we edit the video. Yeah. And it'll be an article about him, but that's all I gotta say about him.
Talk about that guy the guy that you wanted me to tell about, the guy that fell so far deep, far down.
Next pick is the last pick of the first round is Nolan Allen, not a first round pick. Didn't play like one. I don't think he's gonna be a top 6 defender at best for Chicago. At worst, not an NHL guy. Depth guy at best. I mean, worst I'd say. He didn't play like a first round pick. No one had him in draft guy had him as a first round pick. So, yeah. Second round, don't really talk about much. There's some guys who I felt were first round picks who went early in the second round, but they don't really matter. The pick of the day.
That's the guy that you're talking about.
His name is Ratu Ratu. My bad. It's because it's the 2 dots above the Y.
Oh,
Guess what pick he
it's
was?
not German, right?
No, he's Finnish.
Finnish.
Guess what pick he was supposed to be before coming to this year? Guess what he was consensus pick?
Okay, and is he in the first round?
Yes.
Top 5?
Yes. First overall first overall pick fell to 54 or 52 in the second round.
In the second round.
Yes. He fell from first overall consensus at the beginning of the year to 52.
Why? Do people just not?
He played last year. He was dominant. He was
playing like a first overall
He was
pick.
miles better than the kids in the Finnish junior league. So we put him in the Finnish minor league.
Mm-hmm.
Dominated there. Went into the Finnish Liga. 4 points in 12 games. That's really good for a 16, 17-year-old kid. Full-time Liga guy this year. 6 points in 35 games. He had like a few bad games in the early season. Confidence was shattered. He was a shell. He wasn't willing to do the fancy stuff he did when he first got into the league.
That's why he dropped
year.
so down.
Apparently, there might be attitude issues too. I personally don't see it. Like I saw his interviews. He seems like a great guy.
So the skill is still there.
The skill is there, but his confidence.
So just teams passed up on him because of his confidence.
No, but he looked terrible out there.
Wow.
His confidence was gone. He just looked terrible out there. So yeah, like he fell. He wasn't very good defensively, but he got better as the year went on. There was notable improvements. So the team that took him, the Islanders, the general manager's name is Lou Lamoriello, that former Devils manager, and he's an old school guy. What he actually does with players is he makes them answer math equations during their draft day interviews, but it's for a good reason. See their attitude. If they're willing to do it without any question, they're a good locker room guy because they're not going to complain about it. They're not going to complain about that because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Draft day interview like a packet. It's like a packet too. Like not like one sheet.
So it's like a quiz.
It's like a quiz pretty much.
So you do this.
No, he doesn't care if you get them right though. That's the thing. It's like like 2 pages long. It's front and back math equations. But he doesn't care about whether you get them right or wrong. It's rather you're willing to do it without any complaints. Just
does he have a history of doing that? Or
yes, he's an old school guy. He doesn't allow facial hair until the playoffs. He's an old school guy. He's a Devils GM in when they first became the Devils in the 80s. He's been around for a minute.
When they moved from Kansas?
No, Kansas to Colorado, then Colorado.
And then Colorado to New Jersey.
Yeah, so obviously, if there was attitude issues with this guy, Lamoriello would not have taken him. That's just how he is.
And he went to the Islanders.
Yeah, the Islanders are good. And the best part about it is the Islanders are a great defensive team because of their coach.
That's your steal of the draft?
That's my steal of the draft. And the best part is, since their coach, Barry Trotz, who won the chip in 2018 with Washington due to his defensive schemes, is a great defensive coach for the Islanders now. Roddy's defensive game can improve, and if he can just get that confidence back with his offensive game,
he's going to play like a first overall
he could be
pick.
back to what he was, and that would be a phenomenal pick. And the crazy part is, the day 2 of the draft, which was taken on, he wasn't in the building for it because there was no building. Yeah, my bad. No, he was playing in a game for a junior tournament, a worldwide junior tournament. Scored 4 goals for first game. I forgot
in one game.
Yeah, I forgot what the team he was playing against, but he scored 4 goals against them. So I think he's back. I think he might be back.
Damn.
So now we're just gonna cover some trades that I feel of notoriety.
Free agency trades.
Well, both.
Free agency isn't over for the NHL, right?
No, it doesn't end until pretty much the season starts. But even then,
So
you can still sign free agents during the season. So it never really ends.
Oh, I got you.
But so we're gonna go over some trades that happened before and after the draft. The first pick happened yesterday, actually, or 2 days ago. I'm sorry. Ryan Reeves to the Rangers. Guy's a pure fighter. That's it. He just fights. But there's a reason for it. The last 2 games that the Rangers had in the regular season, this guy named Tom Wilson pretty much chokeslammed their star player and then just started punching a guy while he was on the ground. And then the last game of the season, in the first period alone, there was about 120 penalty minutes given out to teams in total. So this is how many fights happened.
He choke slammed him.
Yeah, like they were pushing out. Now sometimes scrums happen. After the whistles are
don't they grab each other by
the shirts
the
like
pad
that?
and then they only use their
Well,
right hand?
they weren't fighting though. They weren't fighting. They're just kind of pushing and stuff after the play was ended.
But isn't that usually how fights happen?
Yeah, that's how fights.
You hold them by the pad.
Eventually,
is it only the right hand or is it your dominant hand?
You don't have to grab them. You can grab them, maybe try to get an advantage, but you can just do that,
Wow.
But the play was blown down, and Tom Wilson from the Capitals chokeslammed the guy and started punching another guy who was already on the ground because some got thrown to the ground on the Rangers.
Yeah.
And then the last game of the year, I'm pretty sure it was, or second to last game or something like that. Line brawls, just fights. They were pissed off. The Rangers were fuming because of that.
Damn.
And the worst part is Wilson. He's a repeat offender. He got like a 20-game suspension, I believe, at some point. But so yeah, though he got a $5,000 fine as his punishment for that, and the Rangers were livid about that. They were actually
is $5,000 a lot for the NHL?
Oh, they get paid millions.
Like, well, I'm just.
Well, compared to the NBA, no, it's not a
Yeah.
lot, but like still get paid millions. But so yeah, no, the Rangers were not happy, and they're now, honestly, they might be screwing themselves over, but they're going for grit now. They're going for big guys to fight people. So Ryan Graves to the Devils from Colorado for Mikhail Maltsev, who was a decent fourth line guy for the Devils this year, pretty good, and a second-round pick this year from the Islanders, but not the Devils' own because they traded that to get Nikita Gusev, who's no longer a Devil. That's an L in my opinion. But Ryan Graves, one of the best defensemen in the game of hockey, one of the best. You're not going to rely on him to get goals or points or anything like that, but he's
Strictly defense?
very reliable defensively. You can count on him. I love this trade. He could be a top. You'll play in the Devils' top four immediately because the Devils' defense sucks. But
So would you say that was a key piece into rebuild?
yes, that's a.
Well, are the Devils in rebuild?
I think they're coming out of it now because they wouldn't have signed Dougie Hamilton. We'll get to.
So they were.
We'll get to Dougie Hamilton in a moment, but they would not have signed Dougie Hamilton if they felt that they weren't out of the rebuild.
So they're like one of those teams that are like in rebuild,
They're coming
but
out.
they're still contenders.
They're going after one more top six winger, the GM said, and then they're done for the season. They're gonna let their young guys develop. So I'm excited for what our GM's gonna do. I just don't want him to overpay. But Graves is gonna be a top four guy for the Devils, which I'm very happy about. I'm very excited about it. So the Devils top four is looking like Dougie Hamilton, who's a newly signed player. Dougie Hamilton, top 5 defender in the NHL. He's a beast offensively. Came in 4th in Norris Trophy votes this year, which is the best defenseman in the NHL. Came in 4th. A beast offensively and a beast defensively. He's a beast offensively and defensively. He put up 40 points in 47 games this year as a defenseman, which is already absurd. And then defensively, his defensive metrics are insane. There's a thing called there's like a bar graph that shows up all like your defensive and offensive metric. Like advanced analytics, the advanced stats, you know. They have a they have a chart that's like a blue bar graph or
like
a red.
a line chart.
Yeah, it's like a bar graph.
Oh yeah.
So blue means anything light blue to dark blue is good. You're good. Anything from light red, dark red is shit. Everything offensively and defensively is all dark blue, which means he's one of the best in the NHL. And the Devils got him for a great deal. Me and my dad both agreed that he's going to be paid for $10.5 million for 7 years. Got him for $9 million for 7 years. He actually went below market value.
So $1 million less.
Yeah, I'd say his market value was about $10 million. He went for $9 million. He came out and said, "Quote."
Would you say that was like a steal? That was a steal.
The great part is Devils still have about $23 million in cap space to work with, so they can go after.
You can go like for one or two more.
Yeah,
more big.
Well, we have to
names.
resign
Not big names, but like
good players.
Good names.
We still have to sign some RFAs, but they're gonna be cheap, so I'm not too worried about that. But Devils' top 4 defense is gonna be looking like Dougie Hamilton, Ryan Graves, Ty Smith, who had a great rookie year for the Devils, a very good offensive defenseman, and I would say Damon Severson, who's been a long-time Devil since he's drafted 2011 or 2012 for the Devils.
So 9 years?
Yeah, 9 almost going on 10 years.
Starting this season.
Yeah. So, yeah, long-time Devil. So, yeah, the defense looking good now. And obviously we have Mackenzie Blackwood, who I mentioned earlier, who's a stud, the cage. So, yeah. And the Devils' future's looking bright. Got Jack Hughes, Alex Holtz, I mentioned both of them earlier. Got Igor Sharangovich, who's actually close. I think he was top 10 in rookie votes, actually. Good. He came out of nowhere, too. He was like a 5th-round pick in 2018. Wasn't just okay in the AHL at best. Went to Russia during the offseason because they started up normally. Dominated goal scoring wise. I think he put up like 17 goals in 34 games as like a 22-year-old, which is still really good.